you doing? I'm David Sanchezi, and I'm here to talk about the news of the day. All right, I want to talk about something that's really disturbing to me. We have Chief Justices of the United States who, I don't know if it's purposely or they just don't have the knowledge, but you would think these people are vetted by our so-called leaders that we vote into power, and they vet these people allegedly. You can watch it on TV when they go up to the Supreme Court and they talk to them, they ask them all these questions, and you would think after a thorough background check, they would have knowledge of where they stand, certain things with their knowledge would be on our Constitution, but apparently that's not so. We have a Supreme Court Justice of the United States, the people who we rely on to make decisions on the law of the land, either purposefully or doesn't have the knowledge, but nonetheless giving out such bad misinformation and not knowing what her job as a justice is. I have two stories about Justice Sotomayor right here, and I'm going to go through them real quick and to show that the state of the country, why this country is where it is. Many of us already know that liberals in general don't like the Constitution, they don't like the country itself. However, when you accept the job as a Supreme Court justice, you're basically supposed to look at the Constitution, know what goes on, and say, well, this is what we have to base it off of, or have an idea what it's about. But when you have a Supreme Court justice that doesn't know the difference between state powers and federal powers, that's got to be a problem. We, the people, have to be disturbed by what's happening in our country. And again, we don't seem to do anything about it. We've got to get out there, get involved, because we can't allow this to happen anymore. How can you have Supreme Court justices purposefully stating misinformation and there's no penalty for her? Anyway, I'm gonna get into these two stories, and you decide like what's going on with these people at the Supreme Court. All right. Sonia Sotomayor was roasted after spreading false information about child COVID hospitalizations. We have over 100,000 children in serious condition, many on ventilators, Sotomayor claimed. Supreme Court Justice Sonia Sotomayor came under withering criticism Friday after she falsely suggested that upwards of 100,000 children in the United States are hospitalized from COVID-19, many of them on ventilators. Now, even if you watch CNN, I doubt you would think that was true. You know, I not that I watch CNN all the time because I can't, but I often watch clips. I hear what they say. I'm searching the internet, reading articles on them to see if they say anything such as this, and they don't. So I don't know where she's getting her news from. Is she getting news? Is she just making it up? Does she feel an obligation to lie to help out the establishment? Because how could you sit here and make a decision on the law of the land and make such an absurd comment as 100,000 children? Hell, if you just watch a little bit of the news, you would know that Anthony Fauci came out and even admitted saying that many of these hospitalizations were due to a child maybe breaking a leg. He gets admitted, and then they test him for COVID and he tests positive. That is already known. Like, how does she not know this? But yet she'll go on while doing a proceeding to make a decision based on the law of the land and make such an absurd statement like this. During oral arguments on the Biden administration mandate on private businesses for employees to be either vaccinated or frequently tested, Sotomayor drastically overstated the number of young people who have fallen severely ill from coronavirus. We have hospitals that are almost at full capacity with people severely ill on ventilators. We have over 100,000 children, which we've never had before, and still don't, Miss Mayor, in serious condition, many on ventilators, she said. While there are more children hospitalized than at any point during the pandemic, according to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, the 7-day average of pediatric hospitalizations was around 3,700 this week. 3,700. She said 100,000. She's not even in the vicinity. According to the Washington Post, as with the prior strains of the virus, younger people are at a far less risk than the old ones of severe outcomes from the coronavirus. Fact checkers, hello again. Fact checkers are all over every statement made by a conservative, made by, let's not even say a conservative, someone who's borderline, that is trying to get out the truth, that wants to know what's going on, an independent, whatever. They're all over you. If they say something that doesn't agree with the narrative, and yet she could say something so outlandish as this, and yet she'll get minimal pushback. Yeah, people on Twitter pushing back, but those are just regular people trying to fight the lies that are going on. Inexcusable for a Scottish justice to peddle the fear-mongering false info, the Hudson Institute's Rebecca Henricks wrote. It's actually terrifying. Just as I said, it's actually terrifying that a Supreme Court justice can be so misinformed. The emperor has no clothes, Ron DeSantis press secretary Christina Pushaw claimed. Justice Sotomayor's comments on 100,000 children is in serious condition with COVID is such a flagrantly untrue statement that you get it. It's so far, so outlandish that honestly, she needs to be removed from the bench. I think it's that serious because you're making a decision based on people's lives. You're talking about people losing livelihoods, and she could go on and make an argument that's totally false and not be held accountable. This is, again, a perfect example of the elites that are running our government, the elites who make decisions for us, totally making false accusations, never saying the truth, and there's no responsibility for them. We have people right now in New York who go into restaurants to try to buy food, and they're arrested because they don't have vaccine passports. People's lives, people who worked at jobs for 25 years, being fired because they don't take a shot. And yet she's over here making blatantly false information and there's no penalty. People are being penalized every day. Like I said, me, myself, I just got fired from my job because I refused to take the vaccine, right? But then she's out here putting misinformation. This just infuriates me more than anything else that's going on in this country right now. Now, if she just did a little homework, she would know the truth. Just yesterday, they were putting out the news all over the place. Almost half of New York COVID-19 hospitalizations were not due to COVID-19. Nearly half of the patients currently in New York hospitals with COVID-19 are not in the hospital because of it, the state said Friday. 43% of the 11,548 hospitalized patients did not have it. It was listed as one of the reasons for admission. Hochul, a Democrat who is seeking a full term in office, told a press conference that she wanted to drill down on the hospitalization numbers to see how many patients are actually being treated for it versus merely having the sickness, which often causes zero or just mild symptoms. Again, this was kind of like on the news the last couple of days. People have been talking about it. Yet she goes on the Supreme Court and blatantly displays false information. So I ask you, how is she allowed to get away with this? Why would she even be allowed to vote on this now? There has to be some repercussion where they just say, sorry, you lose your vote. Because you obviously don't know what's going on. How can you vote on something if you don't know what the situation is? To me, this is reprehensible. Now, of course, lefties will stick up for her and they'll say something like, well, all right, she made one mistake. Okay, let's see. She goes on to say something even worse. Justice Sotomayor claims not to understand the distinction between state and federal powers. Do liberals do this purposely? Do they put people in power that know nothing, that have zero knowledge of what this country runs on? This way they can just continue to vote for things that make no sense, things that are not constitutional? Because here she is. How are you a justice of the United States of America and are not able to distinguish the difference between state and federal powers? It's insanity. We know that many people on the left are insane, but this just goes to completely show the disdain or the fact that they just don't care about what this country stands for. Supreme Court Justice Sonia Sotomayor professed not to be able to understand the distinction between federal authority and state police powers during oral arguments in a consolidated case before the court on Friday morning. That's like a doctor goes into work and doesn't know how to use a stethoscope. That's the way I look at it. Your sole job as a Supreme Court justice is to understand constitutional powers, yet she doesn't even understand the difference between state and feds? This is an aberration. The Occupational Safety and Health Administration rule states that employees of 100 or more workers must either require employees to be vaccinated or force unvaccinated equal employees to submit to weekly testing and masking in the workplace. Both the National Federation of Independent Business and the state of Ohio are suing to end the OSHA vaccine or test mandate. Critics, including the plaintiffs, submit the rule represents federal and bureaucratic overreach. On Friday morning, Sotomayor expressed her dissatisfaction and puzzlement at the critique. So again, she doesn't know her job. So she's basically going to base her decision on her emotions because she feels a certain way, not based on what is the law of the land. It shows it right here. This is what we're dealing with when you go up against these people. I'm not sure I understand the distinction why the states would have the power to initiate a mandate such as OSHA, but the federal government wouldn't, stated the Associate Justice. There you go. There you have it. Admission. I don't know the difference between state and federal powers. If you don't think that's scary for the future of our nation, then you don't understand what I'm saying right here. When Ohio Solicitor General Ben Flowers began to explain the federal government lacks police powers, Sotomayor cut him off. Not only did she know, she even pushed it. Instead of just saying, you know what, I better be quiet on this one. Maybe I shouldn't take a stand. I should just listen to what's going on, and maybe I can make a decision based on that and speak to a couple other justices. It says she goes on the record showing her lack of knowledge. It's embarrassing. She cut him off, claiming that it has power with respect to protecting the health and safety of workers. We have accepted the constitutionality of OSHA, continued Sotomayor, who eventually insisted that the federal government has a police power to protect workers over Flowers' objections. Those objections are rooted in the 10th Amendment, which states that the powers not delegated to the United States by the Constitution, nor prohibited by it to the states, are reserved to the states respectfully or to the people. In constitutional law, these are frequently referred to as police powers and refer to efforts to regulate the health, safety, and morals of the populace. I'm going to put the article down below. You can read it yourself and see how ignorant Justice Mayor is. It just goes to show we're being ruled by people that don't care about what really is the law of the land in this country. People who want to change the country from inside out, they get in these position of power, the position of power such as the Supreme Court Justice, and they have no knowledge, nor do they care to learn. Let's say she didn't understand when she first got voted in. Wouldn't you go on and actually learn what your job is? Sometimes people go into jobs they don't know and they learn it as they go along, but she has probably taken no stance since then to actually learn what her job needs to be. That's basically it. She has not tried to further her knowledge on the Constitution. She went in probably as a favor or because she didn't know nothing, because that's what liberals want. They want a bunch of people who absolutely have no idea what's going on to run the country. Anyway, this is why we're in trouble. This is why we are where we are, because we have a bunch of knuckleheads running the country. People have no clue what this nation stands for, and they're making decisions based on emotions. That's where we are. God bless America. God bless all of you. And I honestly believe Justice Sotomayor needs to be removed from her seat if she doesn't know the difference between state and federal powers. Anyway, thanks for watching, and talk to you later.